Uh, we're going to look at the difference between the fullness of the Gentiles and then times of the Gentiles. We're going to look at, are they the same? If they say fullness of the Gentiles and then times of the Gentiles. Oh, good. Let's read here. Romans 11:25. Romans 11:25. I do not want you to be ignorant of the mystery, brothers, so that you may not be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening in part in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. That is until the fullness of the Gentiles. So this is what we call the fullness of the Gentiles. Good. Let us look at the times of the Gentiles. Luke chapter number 21 verses 24. Verses 24. Luke 21:24. They will fall by the sword and will be taken as prisoners to all nations. Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. So you have seen these two verses, the times of the Gentiles and then the fullness of the Gentiles. So we are going to look at whether these two are they the same. When we say times of the Gentiles, what does it mean? And when I say fullness of the Gentiles, what does it mean? Good. Are they the same terms that have been used? Are they the same thing? Are they talking about the same thing? Well, when we talk about, let's start with the fullness of the Gentiles. The fullness of the Gentiles, as we read in Romans chapter number uh, 11, verses 25. Let us go back there and read it again. And we'll look at the fullness of the Gentiles. Good. It says this way. I do not want you to be ignorant of the mystery, brothers, so that you may not be conceited. Good. Israel has experienced a hardening in part until the full number of the Gentiles has come in, and so all Israel will be saved as it is written. Okay, that is if you now continue. So this fullness of the Gentiles, what happened is that it means the time of the Pentecost. You know the Pentecost. You know when Jesus Christ came. Remember that in John, he said what? I have other sheep which are not in the fold, that I want to bring them in. John 10. You remember the good shepherd, whereby he said, okay, we can read there. John John chapter 10. John chapter 10. Okay, good. Uh, I have come that you may have life, and that, okay, I am the good shepherd, and good. So if you read there, I want to get the exact scripture that says that I have. Okay, now let us read verse 16. I have other four, I have other sheep that are not of of this sheep pen, and I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and they will be one flock and one sheep. That is John chapter number 10, verse 16. So you know when Christ came, he came as a Messiah to save the Jews, and the Jews refused him. It was when he refused him that is where the church enters. The church now, or the church now, let's say, came in. So here Jesus was saying that he is having other flock. And who are the flock? Remember that when he came, he was concentrating on the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. So the Gentiles were not part. Remember that mostly when he sent the disciples, he would say, okay, you go to the Jews, go to the Jews. Do you remember the other woman that came and fell under his feet and said, I want to heal my son? He said, no, it is not good for you to take the son's food and give to dogs. And the woman said, well, even if the son is eating and then the food is falling down, the dogs will come and eat. So when he came, his main purpose was to save the Israelites. So when they refused, that is where the church then came in. So when they say the fullness of the Gentiles, it is talking about the church, from the church, and that will be the time of Pentecost till rapture. So right now that we are talking of, the number that is supposed, I am not saying that God is having a specific number. Like if you read here, God is not having specific number that when this number is up, I'm going to cut it off. But because He is omniscient, He knows even from the beginning, before something starts. He knows everything. So He knows the number of people who will give their life to Him during this church period. That's why He says what? When the fullness of the Gentiles comes in. That's what He says. So the fullness of the Gentiles simply means when the church age has ended. So remember that the last person to enter, to give his or her life to what, to be part of the church, Christ will return. So that means the number that is expected is not yet reached. The number has not yet reached. And I'm not saying, what I'm saying is that, yeah, it's not that Christ has given a specific number, that when this number is reached, let's say 300,000, I'm going to cut off the rest. No, that's not how it is. Because he knows everything. He knows what will happen in future. So He knows the number of people who will give their life to Christ during the church period. So what He's saying is that He is waiting. When the last person now enters, He knows that the remaining ones, they are now chaff. Nobody, no matter what you do, they won't come in. So why should I be wasting my time? So the fullness of the Gentile is speaking about the time of the Pentecost, the rapture. So when the last person entered the church, then the church is full. That means that is the fullness of the Gentiles, that the church has ended, the church age ends. So Christ has not yet come back because there are still people there are other sheep who are still to enter the sheepfold and they haven't come in. And we are the Gentiles, and all the Gentiles that are needed to enter there have not yet come in. They have not yet come. So when we say the fullness of the Gentiles, we are talking about the church age. We are talking about the church age. So it starts from the Pentecost and it will end at the rapture. So that is what we call the fullness of the Gentile. Good. But when we talk of the times of the Gentiles, this one is also talking about a different thing. This one, when the Israelites came from the time of Babylon, when the Babylonians deported them, till now, they have not had their own king. It is other nations that are ruling them. They will just come and they'll say, okay, this person will just be leading you, but they don't have their own king. The last king that they deported, the last king that went into exile in Babylon, no king. They don't have king until now. They don't have king. They have been ruled by Gentiles. So that is what we also call what the times of the Gentile. That is what is in Luke 21:24. Let us read there. So the fullness of what the Gentiles is different from the times of the Gentiles. So the times of the Gentiles is talking about the period of time which the Gentiles will rule the Israelites. That period of time. So it reads this way. I read 24. They will Luke 21:24. They will fall by sword and will be taken to prisoners to all nations. Jerusalem will be trampled on foot by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. So it will be trampled by what? It will be trampled underfoot by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles fulfill. So the times of the Gentile, this one starts from the Babylonian deportation until the last world ruler to rule the Jews will be the Antichrist. So this one will start from Babylonian captivity till the uh, the reign of the Antichrist, and then Christ's second coming will not end it. So it will end at Christ's second coming. So the times of the Gentiles will be the time period between the period in which the Israelites are being ruled by Gentile nations. Starting from Babylon, when Babylonians deported them till now, they don't have their own king. They have not gotten their own king. I'm not talking about presidents, I'm talking about their kings. Good. So they have not gotten their own kings yet. So they were ruled by what? Gentile nation. And this one will continue. The last Gentile to rule them will be the Antichrist. Do you remember that we said the Antichrist is going to be a Gentile? So that will be the last person, and it will end at the second coming when Christ comes. So the fullness of the Gentiles start from Pentecost and end at rapture, and then the times of the Gentiles start from Babylonian deportation till Jesus' second coming. So the two of them, they are not the same. So from Babylonian captivity till second coming, that is the fullness of the Gentiles. So the two of them are two different things. God bless you and keep you. If you have any comment, any question that you have, put it at the comment section. Share, like. If you don't understand anything, just put it there so that we'll find answers to ourselves. This channel is all about facts and then explanation and end time events. What will happen at the end time. Bye bye till we meet again. God bless you.